Alright, so this is the first video over card games, and I'm going to go over a card game that I played a lot of and fell in love with, but unfortunately is now out of print. And which surprised me, it was the Inuyasha card game. So, a quick run over of what the card game entailed. First off, you had your basic 60 card deck, and you had a side deck. A lot of games now have side decks. Inuyasha didn't have it till probably, I think, halfway through its lifetime. The way the side deck worked was you actually needed a side deck card, which gave you an in-game ability and a number. That number was how many cards you could have in that side deck. Now that was important because of, one, more cards mean you had more options. Secondly, though, some cards actually tampered with the side deck, grabbing specific cards from it. So the more options, the more things you could grab. Then again, if you knew exactly what your deck ran, and you knew what you wanted to grab from here, sometimes you didn't need that many. Now the different types of cards. Your primary was your characters. Character card will have their specific stats. So she's a female, she's good, she's a priestess, and she's unique. Unique meaning you can only have one of her currently in play. There are 3 colors attributed to each character, a cost, and an effect. Now there are 6 colors total in the game. Colors are what you use to do battle. So say if I grab Miroku's grandfather. Midoriko has black, red, and blue. Miroku's grandfather had white, red, and blue. Purple, I'm sorry. Now, the only color really in common is red, so that's the only color they could do combat in. If there was a tie, now, excuse me, it's been about a year since I've played the game. If it's a tie, both are defeated. Now, at the end of your turn, you can recover 1 defeated character. Any more than 1 defeated character on your side of the field, the rest are discarded. Now, say his purple was blue. He could swing with that blue onto Midoriko's blue, but that wouldn't be wise because she has more blue. If that happens, he doesn't go down. It counts as a whiff. He just swung and missed entirely. If she swings at him with more blue, he's defeated. Now if he had more red, then he could swing at her red. That was the balance in the game. Many characters had 2 strong colors and 1 weak color. So really I could play near any character and take down another character as long as I had that weak color. And the art style did change halfway through. They tried to streamline it a bit so you could actually read the stats and the colors a lot easier, and it didn't take up so much of the card. Events are, sorceries or instances or spells or traps, however you want to put it in whatever game you play. Those basically have different effects and abilities. They have a cost and they have an effect. Same as anything else. Items are what you would expect. They're items. Items have to be attached to 1 character, and unless otherwise stated, each character can only have 1 item on at a time. They have a cost. Sometimes they have specific attributes attributed to them as well. And lastly, there are locations. You can only have 1 location out at a time. A location affects your side of the field. So, Higurashi Shrine, each of your characters in play is either a priest. If they're either a priest or priestess, then once per battle you can ready a priest or priestess. That basically means you can untap one that has already been tapped. That right there is the 4 basic cards of the game. How the deck ended up working, or how the game ended up working, I should say, is in order to play anything with a cost, you overturn cards from the deck. So if, say, I wanted to play a Kagome Kikyo Reincarnated, she has a cost of 2. So from the top of my deck, I would overturn 2 cards. Now say I swung at them and I defeated one of their characters. I steal a jewel shard. At the beginning of the game, you take the top 5 cards of your deck, and you put those aside. Those are your Shikon jewel shards. Whenever someone hits you, or takes out your guy, they take a jewel shard. And if at any point one person controls all 10 jewel shards, they win. Of course, there are other ways to win the game based on different card effects, but, in what card game, when isn't there? Now, this game I actually got really, really serious about. I actually went to regional events for it. The best I did was coming in 5th place, which was one below actually getting a cash prize, which, kind of sucks. I would like $250. This deck, my Priest and Priestess deck, this one was actually my first, and I stuck with the longest, and it is one of my favorite decks. However, it is not my favorite deck. My favorite deck ended up being my Shichin Tai. For those of you who just stick to Adult Swim, that'd be Band of 7. This being the man of Band of 7, my personal opinion. And it was very item heavy, and it was very Band of 7 heavy, as you can, assume. But the deck worked fantastically. And I never really got to play regionals with this deck, so I don't know how well it would have done. So, what killed the card game? Well, the card game actually went on for a long time. It was one of those card games that came in the smaller boxes. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh!, it'd be a character pack box, one of those small, deck box size ones. There's usually 1 ultra rare per box, sometimes 2. And there were always 2, I can't remember what they were called at the time. I would call them set rares. Set rares were a specific sort of super rare you find in the set, such as this Kikyo. Notice the different art style. Each one had a different art style attributed to it. There's a Kagome from it. These are about 2 per box. So really 1 in every 6 booster packs. There's another one. And that alternate art style really kind of, caught my attention. There was one, I want to call it an infamous one, that actually had a deck built around itself all its own, which is based off of Shippo's storybook. If you do not remember what Shippo's storybook was, or never saw it, well then you don't have to worry, do you? Because I'm going to show it to you now. I never collected all of Shippo's storybook, but I did collect a good chunk of it. So as an example, this is what we're talking about. And it based itself around the cat, the wolf, and the dog cards. All different characters. So why did it die out? Well, the last set that came out was at the end of the series. The game wasn't doing badly, but it wasn't catching any more steam, and they really had nowhere really to go with it. So, in one kind of last hurrah, the last set of the game had all foils, had these busted-ass cards, basically went out in a blaze of unholy glory. Although I never really used any of the cards because, to me, that just kind of turned me off to wanting to do it. So, that's Inuyasha the card game. If any of you still have these cards or have a deck, I would love to know what you run, what you used to run, and any memories or thoughts you had about the game in itself. It is one of my favorite games. Next time I'll be talking about my Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck and my thoughts with Yu-Gi-Oh! In general, and why you should listen to me when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And after that, I'll probably go over the Dot Hack card game, because that was another competitive card game I got into and actually ended up doing really, really well at. But thank you.